Estonia is a country of 1.3 million people and about 40,000 square kilometers. So it's a very small country. And basically in the 90s, our government realized that managing an old paper-based bureaucracy is not reasonable for Estonia, because as we are such a small country, then this old type of model of administration is very inefficient and takes a lot of money. So we chose to go digital already in the 90s. Very important part for choosing and going digital is about the education, about making the people actually more aware of these kind of digital services and make them trust the society more. And this is all about education. In Estonia, in the 90s, there were vast projects of bringing the whole society online and digital. And a nice example is that private sector companies actually paid for the about 20% of the population's digital education. So it was a very nice example where the banks and the telcos found out that for them, in a strategical way, it's more reasonable for people to use the computer rather than wrote some paper stuff. And they basically educated about 20% of the whole population, which for them later on, in 10 years after the education part, meant that they could cut down the offices and so on. But really important processes in the digital economy started actually in the end of 90s. In 1997, we started our e-cabinet, which means that like our government never uses papers from already 97. And the nice example is that when our government convenes in like every week they have an important meeting, then most of the times their meetings last about 2 minutes, maybe 3. They talk about the weather and they talk about something else, but it's also important that all of the decisions made during these 3 minutes, which the average is about 60 to 70 strategical governmental decisions that can be made in 3 minutes, are all actually pre-discussed digitally. So this is an example how this digital government can make it a lot efficient. The second important step came in 2001 when we basically made a compulsory ID card. And the ID card is a digital identity which is to every citizen. Every Estonian has this kind of a card, which is a key to our digital ecosystem. Together with the ID card, we implemented a data exchange layer called the X-Road. This means that public sector and private companies can share their data securely. This is very important because usually when citizens actually don't know about digital services, then the biggest problem is the trust towards it. So you need to know that nobody is misusing your data. And our system called the X-Road is doing just that. One of the other important steps of making the services and the public sector more efficient comes from the year 2005 when we implemented internet voting, and we are still the only government globally that has internet voting on each public election. It has always been a secure way of voting, and it helps actually that, I don't know, I can cast a vote from my mobile phone in 2 minutes. I don't need to stand in the line or anything. I think the next step in this evolution is in 2008, we abolished paper. So we don't have a paper track record. It's always done digitally, and there are levels of security that are actually way more secure than the paper-based model is. The point is that, for example, for a citizen, probably in Ecuador or in Colombia or wherever where the old type of bureaucracy is still very lively, every time when you go to a government official or to apply for something, you always need to fill out a lot of forms. In Estonia, we don't need to do that because we have the once only principle. This means that if you have given any piece of information to the municipality or the government, then the government should never ask that again. So every time when you need to apply for something, you get a pre-filled form and you don't need to actually do anything. You just click, yes, I want it, done. You can, I don't know, I declare my taxes in 18 seconds. The Estonian average is about 3 minutes. So in most countries you need a lawyer or accountant to declare your taxes. We can do that in 3 minutes. That is really important. This has always been the other side of the coin, because you need to have, the cybersecurity is always the top of our agenda. We're a first country that is based on blockchain. Blockchain is a technology that the innovation is that you don't need to trust all of the different parties, you can trust the blockchain. So our log files are based in blockchain, so this means that all of the citizens can go to the governmental website and see who has been looking at their data and why. And if there's a problem, this is considered as a serious offense. So misusing the data is considered a serious crime. In Estonia, the value is, and this is coded into the laws, that every citizen actually owns their own data. The government, the municipality, and the private sector are merely providing a service of keeping it. So you, as the owner of your own data, can manage it and see who has been looking at it and why. So no, there have been only very small minor cases. For example, with a doctor checking up a famous person, what was wrong with him or something like that, or a police officer checking whether her girlfriend has an affair or not. But these incidences have been like 3 throughout 10 years of history of this system. So no problem there.
Now that helped Estonia export services.
Yes, the main point of building this kind of digital economy is actually to make the life easier for the citizen and for the companies as well. So if you make an ecosystem that is very user-friendly and easy, so you don't need to fill out documents, you don't ever need to stand in lines to wait for getting some kind of funds, then this makes the ecosystem very competitive. So the service sector actually can build upon this innovation, founded by the government, provided by the government, so that they can actually make the services way more easier. And it also helps for private sector companies to actually export their services abroad, because the ecosystem in Estonia is very competitive. Another nice example that actually can explain and show how the Estonian ecosystem actually could be very useful for Ecuadorian or South American companies is our re-residency program. Basically, a person in, for example, Ecuador or Chile or Peru, whatever, can apply for an e-residency from Estonia. They never have to come there, and they can open a company in Estonia, which is within the European Union framework, within 18 minutes. So you can open a company within 18 minutes. From next year, you don't need to declare taxes, because all of that is done automatically. You can actually have a business within the European Union without ever have to go there physically. So this is what we can provide, and this is something that actually helps also the service sector to make life for the people and the citizen way easier.
So how do you see the potential of the linkages as a gateway to Europe, with Latin America and the Caribbean? Estonia being like a gateway for Europe, or how do you see the relationship, the potential?
I think the potential market from an Estonian point of view, the potential market from South America and Caribbean is really huge, because there are many companies that actually want to do business within the European Union, but for them it's relatively difficult because of the bureaucracy involved. So yes, I think that e-residence is the most easiest way for them to open a business within the European Union framework. And yes, there's already, I actually don't know the statistics, but I think there is at least like 400 e-residents from South America currently, and the amount is growing quite fastly. because all of the businessmen who want to do business in Europe, then the e-residence is the most easiest way to open that business up.
Would that be done on an individual basis or an organization like Alex could have a role in that?
Ales could have a role in promoting that, but e-residency means that the government of Estonia gives the digital signature to a person. If this person is involved in the company, then of course it can be made that. So, but we give this signature to people, not to companies. But those companies, the people who maintain them, can yes open up their own offices, and that can be done.